Empires once ruled the earth with absolute confidence, believing their power would last forever. Their banners stretched across continents, their laws shaped millions of lives, and their rulers were treated as gods or chosen by destiny. Yet today, these empires exist only in ruins, forgotten names, and silent stones buried beneath sand and soil. History is filled with stories of dominance followed by disappearance, reminding us that no power, no matter how vast, is eternal. The first great empires emerged when humans learned to organize power beyond tribes. In ancient Mesopotamia, the Akkadian Empire rose around 2300 BCE under Sargon of Akkad. It was the world's first known empire, uniting city-states through military strength and centralized rule. For the first time, diverse peoples were governed under one authority. Roads connected cities, trade flourished, and law became standardized. But the Akkadian Empire collapsed within 2 centuries. Climate change, drought, internal rebellion, and weak successors shattered its foundations. Once mighty cities were abandoned, and the empire vanished, leaving behind broken tablets and fading legends. In Egypt, the pharaohs built an empire that seemed eternal. Monumental pyramids, temples, and statues were designed to defy time itself. For thousands of years, Egypt dominated the Nile and surrounding regions through military might, religious authority, and economic control. Gold, grain, and knowledge flowed through its borders. Yet even Egypt could not escape decline. Foreign invasions by the Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, and Romans slowly stripped away its independence. By the time Cleopatra ruled, Egypt was a shadow of its former glory. When Rome absorbed it, an empire that once called itself eternal quietly disappeared into history. The Assyrian Empire ruled through fear and efficiency. Known for its brutal military tactics, Assyria dominated the Near East between the 9th and 7th centuries BCE. Its armies were unmatched, its cities vast, and its intelligence networks advanced. The Assyrians believed terror was a tool of stability. Yet this same cruelty bred hatred. When enemies united, they destroyed Assyrian cities with relentless fury. In 612 BCE, Nineveh fell, burned to the ground. Within a generation, the Assyrian Empire was erased so completely that its existence was forgotten for centuries. Persia rose next, offering a different model of empire. Under Cyrus the Great, the Achaemenid Empire became the largest the world had ever known. Stretching from India to the Mediterranean, Persia ruled through tolerance rather than terror. Cultures were respected, religions allowed, and local leaders preserved. Roads, postal systems, and administration held the empire together. Yet size became its weakness. Internal corruption, palace intrigue, and the rise of a young Macedonian king named Alexander shattered Persia's dominance. When Alexander defeated Darius III, Persia's vast empire collapsed almost overnight. Alexander's own empire was even more fragile, conquering faster than anyone before him. He unified Greece, Egypt, Persia, and parts of India by the age of 30. Cities were renamed, cultures mixed, and Greek language spread across continents. But Alexander ruled by personal authority, not institutions. When he died suddenly, his empire fractured instantly. His generals fought each other, carving the empire into pieces. The greatest conquest in history vanished because it depended on one man. Rome learned from these failures and built an empire based on law, engineering, and citizenship. Roads connected Europe, Africa, and Asia. Aqueducts brought water to cities, and Roman law shaped justice for centuries. Rome ruled through both force and integration, granting citizenship to conquered peoples. At its height, Rome controlled nearly a quarter of the world's population. Yet internal decay proved more dangerous than external enemies. Corruption, economic inequality, political instability, and endless wars drained Rome's strength. When barbarian invasions struck, the empire could no longer defend itself. In 476 CE, the Western Roman Empire fell. Though its ideas survived, its political power vanished. In Asia, the Han dynasty created one of history's greatest empires. It unified China, expanded borders, and developed systems of governance that still influence China today. Confucian ideals guided administration, while silk trade connected East and West. But like Rome, the Han Empire weakened from within. Court corruption, power struggles, and peasant rebellions shattered stability. By 220 CE, the Han dynasty collapsed, plunging China into centuries of division. The Mongol Empire emerged from the steppes with unprecedented speed and destruction. Under Genghis Khan and his successors, it became the largest land empire in history. Mongol armies conquered from China to Eastern Europe, terrifying entire civilizations. Yet the Mongols also encouraged trade, protected merchants, and connected cultures through the Silk Road. Their empire depended on unity among rulers. When succession disputes arose, the empire fractured into khanates. Over time, local cultures absorbed Mongol rulers, and the empire faded into regional states. In the Americas, the Aztec and Inca empires ruled vast territories without iron weapons or wheels. The Aztecs built Tenochtitlan, a city of canals and temples that amazed European visitors. The Incas controlled the Andes with roads, terraces, and administrative precision. Both empires seemed unbreakable within their worlds, yet they fell rapidly to Spanish conquistadors. Disease played a devastating role, killing millions before battles even began. Internal divisions and betrayal weakened resistance. Within decades, empires that ruled for generations vanished under foreign domination. The Ottoman Empire ruled for over 6 centuries, controlling Southeast Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Its armies were feared, its administration sophisticated, and its capital Istanbul a center of culture and trade. The Ottomans adapted firearms early and governed diverse populations through legal autonomy. But stagnation, nationalism, and technological lag eroded its strength. By the early 20th century, the empire was called the sick man of Europe. After World War I, it collapsed, replaced by modern nation-states. The British Empire was the largest empire in human history, ruling over lands where the sun never set. Through naval power, trade, and colonization, Britain controlled nearly a quarter of the world's land. Its influence shaped languages, borders, and global economics. Yet maintaining such an empire required immense resources. 2 world wars drained Britain's power. Colonized nations demanded independence, and the empire dissolved not through conquest, but through resistance and exhaustion. Across history, empires rise for similar reasons: military strength, economic control, innovation, and strong leadership. They fall for equally familiar causes: corruption, inequality, overexpansion, internal division, and resistance from the oppressed. No empire truly vanished without warning. Decline always came slowly before collapse struck suddenly. The ruins scattered across the world are silent reminders of ambition and impermanence. Stone pillars stand where crowds once gathered. Broken walls mark borders that once defined the world. Names that inspired fear now survive only in textbooks. Empires ruled the earth with confidence, believing themselves eternal, yet time proved otherwise. History teaches a powerful lesson through these vanished giants. Power is temporary, dominance fades. Civilizations endure not through conquest alone, but through justice, adaptability, and balance. The earth has been ruled many times before, and each time, the ruler believed it would be the last. Yet the cycle continues, written in the dust of fallen empires.